समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
आप समझा?
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
3 days after his tragic death in a plane crash, Ajit Pawar's wife, Sunetra Pawar, is going to be Maharashtra's deputy chief minister, the first woman to hold this post. But many are wondering, why was the NCP in such a hurry to anoint Sunetra Pawar as the inheritor of her husband? And what does this do to the larger plans of a imminent NCP merger? Was Ajit Pawar really going to leave the BJP alliance as Mamta Banerjee has alleged? Was there really a merger of the Sharad Pawar and the Ajit Pawar factions of the NCP? And if so, will it still go ahead? And if it does go ahead, what sort of impact will it have on Maharashtra politics, both for the ruling alliance and opposition politics? I'm Barkha. You're with the Mojo Story. Sunetra Pawar, the woman you see on your screen, is Maharashtra's new deputy chief minister. Her husband, Ajit Pawar, died tragically along with 4 others in a plane crash. And that plane crash is something, of course, we've been reporting separately on why we believe that crash was not a mere accident, but a product of possible corruption and even willful negligence. But today we look at the politics that follow Ajit Pawar's untimely death. What is happening within the Pawar family? Has Sharad Pawar, the Machiavellian, clever mind of Indian politics, been outfoxed by circumstances? His daughter Supriya Sule, widely believed to be somebody who's being groomed by her father to take over the mantle soon. What will her role be? Sunetra Pawar is now the Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister, and this was a decision clearly taken in a hurry. We'll have the images of her swearing in a moment from now. Devendra Fadnavis has said that the BJP will go by whatever Ajit Pawar's NCP decides. Sharad Pawar created a flutter earlier in the day by saying he was not consulted on this decision to make Sunetra Pawar the Deputy Chief Minister. And there are all kinds of political questions and political whispers around what may now happen in Maharashtra politics, the churn that follows, and the dynamics that may change. Let me introduce our guest today as we look at this tragic but in a sense volatile political moment. Dilip Cherian is with us, brand guru, political analyst, always a pleasure. Also joining us is senior journalist, commentator Varun Singh. After a long time, Varun, good to see you. And also joining us is Tehseen Poonawala. Maharashtra is his home state. He is a Congress supporter mostly, but sometimes critical of the Congress. And it'll be interesting to see how he's looking at what's happening within the NCP's larger Pawar Parivar. Let's also bring up images now that we can bring them to you. Sunetra Pawar all set for that oath as a Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister. Let me actually start with comments here as we open this up for a discussion. I want to start with you, Dilip. What do you make of this a moment? Sunetra Pawar, a wife still in grieving. Politics is obviously quite ruthless, does not even allow families time to mourn. In any other family, you would have taken your time, you would have had time to process. The NCP was quite clearly in a hurry. Why do you think they were in such a hurry to take a decision?
Just like the Franklin Templeton ad says, women equals to men. And I think that there clearly seems to be the kind of messaging that is going out that there isn't very much to think. We are replacing someone who we trusted with someone who he trusted. And while the danger of the imagery of nepotism could hover around this decision, the fact is that clearly Maharashtra's politics and Maharashtra's economics seems to be, we need to get this thing back on the road. We need to make sure that there is no hiccup in terms of how government and functioning of the process of running government carries on. And I think business as usual seems to be the main message, because knowing the fact that Sharad Pawar is such a seasoned and competent person to manage changes in the political framework, they did not want to allow him to have a chance to do that. And this is clearly a way of making sure that he was checkmated in this process because of the untimely death.
So you do believe that Sharad Pawar was checkmated possibly by circumstances?
His statements seem to reflect that. And I would say that, the way he would have worked this out would probably have been different. One doesn't know what different, but certainly this would not be his plan A in case of an untimely death.
Tehseen, let me bring you in. I remember many, many years ago when I was a very young reporter, and Sharad Pawar was in part of the UPA. And I was interviewing Pranab Mukherjee, and I asked him something about something Sharad Pawar had said at a rally. There was an election coming up, and Pranab Da said, "Oh, Sharad Pawar, nobody can predict what he will do in the next minute. Forget the next day." And he was saying it in a cynical sort of way. And I do believe that none of us on the outside have actually understood what was the actual relationship between Ajit Pawar and Sharad Pawar. Did Ajit Pawar really betray Sharad Pawar? Was it all an act? Did Sharad Pawar have one foot in either camp? Is that what's happening even now? Like, it is so difficult to read this. Dilip feels Sharad Pawar has been checkmated, and certainly his statements seem to suggest that he was miffed, that he was not consulted on Sunetra Pawar's anointment, and it is an anointment. How do you see it?
Barkha, thank you so much for having me on the show. Good evening, and 3 or 4 points. Let's go back to when you were starting off as a reporter, and to that aspect, the politics today that you see in Maharashtra, or in that sense, even India, the regional political party politics, the flag bearer of that has been Mr. Pawar. What I mean to say by that is the only motive for the Pawars has been power. So the Pawars would be where there is power, period. And that's how Mr. Sharad Pawar has operated. He broke away from the Congress because the Congress was supposed to be led by a foreigner, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. Yet his entire political career, when he started the NCP, he aligned with the same Congress he broke up with, because Pawar wanted power. Now comes in Ajit Pawar ji. Ajit Pawar ji is a chip of the old block. Well, it's an uncle and nephew's relationship. And I often tell people who today seem surprised by what happens in Maharashtra that this isn't new. In 2008, when I was young and I was watching politics, there was something called the Pune pattern done by Ajit Pawar ji. What is interesting about this Pune pattern was that the Congress and the NCP were in power in the center, then UPA. In Maharashtra, they were running a state government. Yet in Pune, to keep Suresh Kalmadi out of the Pune Municipal Corporation, coincidentally, he died about on 6th of Jan, and there was a fierce rivalry between Ajit Pawar and Suresh Kalmadi to control Pune. To keep Suresh Kalmadi out of Pune Municipal Corporation, which Congress controlled for 21 years, he formed an alliance with the BJP and the Shiv Sena called the Pune pattern. 2009 were the UPA elections and then the state elections. And, he won those elections, then he formed this government out in the local government. And that was the first sort of setback to Congress in Western Maharashtra, because Pune is the gateway to Western Maharashtra. So this is not new of how we know it. So now that you see that this is happening, there seems to be some power dynamics within the family. Like I said, I do know the family very well. And I think the idea of continuing is we can talk to the family later. Let's first not let go of the government that we control. Because one of the aspects is if they're not in power, this part of the family, that is part Jay and Mrs. Pawar, Sunetra Pawar's part is not in power. A lot of those MLAs will go back to either Mr. Sharad Pawar or those who don't want to go back to this camp will go to the BJP. The rest of them who are remaining will come back to the Congress. The thing is, there are several senior leaders in the NCP Ajit Pawar camp. They may not have been comfortable, for example, working under if Ajit Pawar ji is not there, and therefore to ensure that they don't go away, in my opinion, this decision is taken that you have to be in power and you have to be in government.
So what you're saying is it's a way of maintaining status quo, and it may take time for everything else, but to not let go of the power that they hold. That there is a danger of that. I want to welcome my colleague Tejas Mehta also to the program now. Good to see you, Tejas. But let me bring in Varun, and then I'll come to Tejas. Varun, the BJP is giving a lot of khuli chhoot, as they say in Hindi, that aapko jo karna hai, jisko leader banana hai, we will support. But when you connect the dots with Mamata Banerjee's statement, and I'm ignoring the conspiracy part of that statement, but the fact that she said Ajit Pawar was going to leave the BJP alliance. There were also eyebrows raised when Naresh Arora was, given a visit by the police. He was a close aide and advisor, as you know, of Ajit Pawar. What do you make of the developments with Sunetra Pawar as the Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister? Are they going to stay with the BJP? What is happening according to you?
To be very honest, I saw Mamata Banerjee's statement in it had two parts. One of her, which I also endorse, that let there be a Supreme Court judge, sitting judge, former judge, whosoever they want to, for the investigation. But her second part, which was very cruel to be said at that point, that he was killed because he wanted to leave BJP, is completely wrong. Probably Mamata Banerjee is too engrossed, and many people sitting in Delhi are too engrossed in politics other than Maharashtra, that they didn't see the nitty-gritties. As of Jan 22, 2026, it was Sunil Tatkare, the state president of NCP, who had come out openly and said that NCP Sharad Pawar is seeking a merger with us. There are talks going on, but let us be very clear that NCP, led by Ajit Pawar, is part of NDA in Mumbai and in Delhi. And we are going to be there that way. So
you're saying it's the other way around. It's Sharad Pawar who wanted to come into... It's Sharad Pawar who was wanted to come into the fold, not Ajit Pawar who was planning to leave the fold.
Not at all. And that was visible till the last day of Ajit Pawar being alive. He attended the cabinet meeting on Tuesday. He tweeted all those decisions that were taken by all the ministries, including the Enemy Property Act, Revenue Department Ministry, GR also, the decision that was taken over there. So it is completely wrong to say that Ajit Pawar was going to leave NDA. And why would he leave NDA? Anybody who knows and understands NCP sitting here in Maharashtra would be very clear that the political leaders, the politicians supporting NCP or are part of NCP are regional satraps. They all know, they all always want to be part of power. They know without power, they are good for nothing. So why would they leave NDA only to merge with Sharad Pawar, who couldn't even win 10 or 11 seats during the 2024 assembly elections? And not only that, second part, I would say that when Tehseen was saying that many people would from NCP Ajit Pawar would join Congress, sorry, I don't see that happening. Instead, if Sharad Pawar comes here, there are many people who would join, Ajitendra Awad for that matter, because his politics doesn't align with the politics of the NDA. His politics aligns with the so-called alleged secular politics of appeasement politics that he follows, and that is followed by now Uddhav Thackeray as well as by the Congress. So he will go on that side. And SP is that if anything happens of that sort, both the parties come together, then it would be leaders and MLAs from Sharad Pawar's camp who will be abandoning him and going to other political parties. Because
so basically you're saying Sharad Pawar is the one on the weak wicket. Basically.
Absolutely.
Right?
No, not basically. I'm openly saying it.
No. I do tend to agree with you with just the caveat, and let me take that. Sorry, Tehseen, you have a brief interjection before I come to Tejas. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Tehseen.
Yeah, I agree with Varun that Sharad Pawar, NCP is on a very weak wicket. What I told him, he missed the first part of my statement, is most of them will go towards BJP. Some would go towards Sharad Pawar, NCP. Jitendra Awad is the name I had in mind. But if there is anyone remaining, अगर कोई रह जाता है तो फिर वो कांग्रेस देखेगा. बट वो इधर शोले दे उधर सीन, आधे लोग लेफ्ट को जाओ, आधे लोग राइट को जाओ, तो बच्चे में मेरे साथ आओ, तो कांग्रेस में आने वाला कोई नहीं होगा. बट एक आध दो बच जाएंगे तो कांग्रेस में आ जाएंगे. But
to some extent,
let's leave Congress out. They will go to BJP
no,
or Sharad Pawar. They will.
no, but Awad himself is with Sharad Pawar right now. So why would he go again back to Sharad Pawar? So my question
The
is that
type
no
of
one from Ajit
of
Pawar. But I'm
Okay.
saying anybody with Ajit Pawar right now will
Let's
not
get
go back to
Tejas.
Sharad Pawar.
Let's allow Tejas to have a first comment,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we'll come back to all of you. Tejas, here's the question. Is this merger still going to happen? And if it happens, what are the power dynamics going to play out like?
I don't think this is happening anytime soon. I think what the NCP, which I mean clearly now Ajit Pawar, I'm not going to mention and specify. The NCP is consolidating at this point of time, given the fact that Ajit Pawar is not there. Put up somebody who is, in a sense, credible, carries some weight, weight as much as the other leaders in the NCP, that there is no power struggle happening, and then also gives reassurance to the MLAs and the ministers that this is not a sinking ship. We are back in the game, and nothing has changed actually. I mean, just the name of the chief minister has changed. Her residence remains the same. Everything remains the same. So do not worry. We are not going anywhere. As far as the merger concerned, I am with Varun on that. This is Sharad Pawar and Supriya Sule who are on not a weak wicket, not a sticky wicket. I mean, this is about survival for them now. I mean, he would be wondering when Ajit Pawar was alive, and there were so many offers by the BJP that, okay, let's merge once again. Let's merge at that point of time. Why didn't he take it up? Because nobody expected this to really happen, and it's turned. I mean, everybody thought, okay, at some point Sharad Pawar would retire, and then Ajit Pawar would get the mantle in Maharashtra, and Supriya Sule would lead in Delhi. And today, now it's all on Sharad Pawar's shoulders as far as his party is concerned. He was saying by the end of this year he may retire. So now it goes to Supriya Sule. And what do you have? 10 MLAs? With 10 MLAs, what can you ask a party with 41 MLAs to come and let's join and let's be sitting in the opposition now for what? I don't know. I mean, these are ministers who are sitting there. They're MLAs. They have funds. They have access to the government, and they don't have any ED or CBI on their backs. So coming back to the fold is very well, but sitting where in the treasury benches or in the opposition benches, I think that's what very cleverly the Sharad Pawar NCP leaders are not mentioning. They're talking about the merger, the January 17th video. All that is very well. We all do know that. But what did Ajit Pawar insist on? Whether we'll sit in the opposition or in the or be in the government? I don't think he's going to ever give up. After being 6 times deputy chief minister so easily, for what? And there is, by the way, no election happening in Maharashtra for a very long time. The next election, I think, is in 2029, when it will be the Lok Sabha election. So till then, I think if she can manage to keep calm and run her government, be part of the government, I don't see any problem for the NCP at all. The problem is for
Sharad and Supriya.
Sharad Pawar, and see if Sharad Pawar does finally agree to join the government.
Okay.
Let's say he's agreeable, he will join the NDA. Now that's he has opposed it so many times. It's about his secular credential label which he has got, and he has protected it for so many years. At the end, will he give it so that his child, his daughter Supriya Sule, has a party which can exist, which can continue? Because they are being out of power, not Ajit Pawar's NCP.
So let me take this to Dilip. I think Tehseen, Varun, Tejas all seem to agree, Dilip, that the problem is the lack of good options for Sharad Pawar. And therefore, the option that he would have had, or he would have been considering when that last meeting took place earlier in January between the two Pawar factions, was actually to join the NCP fold of Ajit Pawar and thereby become part of the NDA. That, of course, still remains a possibility. Will he do this for the sake of his daughter? Will he do this for the sake of his daughter to have a political mantle to take over? However, if Sunetra Pawar is the deputy chief minister, is it even Sharad Pawar's NCP anymore? Our colleagues on the panel seem to be suggesting no longer. And in Maharashtra, we have this very interesting situation where both the Sena and the NCP, in some ways, their control has been wrested from their original sort of controllers or the original families that controlled them. Dilip, what do you think?
You know, we also have to give adequate importance to whatever will be Sunetra Pawar's management style. Does she see this as somewhat of an opportunity to make sure that her own children have a shot at power, continuity, existence, safety, all of these? So, safety being very important for them. And I think both both panelists that referred to this matter of the ED and things like that know that as far as Sunetra Pawar is concerned, she, for a certain period of time, has the advantage of the huge wave of sympathy, which will ensure that whatever she wants, whatever she does, is accepted, and the image of a grieving widow forced to take charge will allow her to take decisions which Sharad Pawar may or may not find palatable. Don't forget that it is more than likely that Sunetra Pawar has taken the hurt and the angst of the two NCP factions more to heart than Ajit. Ajit has been, and having dealt with him at a political level, I know he is one of those people who is happiest managing the party machine and doing what is required to be done within the government. Now, Sunetra has always been much more of a family person, and therefore those emotions will come into play, and you will see decisions by her after a period of time. She will make sure that nothing is allowed to rock the boat for the moment, and definitely,
you don't think. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you just for a follow-up. You don't think she's going to be a Rabri Devi type figure? You think she is going to be autonomously taking decisions?
I think she's autonomously going to take decisions because of the fact that there are 3 Pawar boys in the mix at the moment, and I'm sure that those on the ground will give us more detail. But 2 of her own sons and 1 of the elder brother's sons. So with all of that in the mix, she will have to chart out a very clear positioning, and Supriya will have to do a lot of the maneuvering, which her father may now be, in a sense, generationally left out of that whole equation.
Now, Tehseen, what I am not able to understand, and maybe all of you can help me, is it an act that there is a rupture? And if the rupture is real, then when they come together in moments of grief and celebration, what do we make of that? We saw Supriya literally front-facing all of the funeral arrangements for Ajit Dada, after his death. We have seen them politically compete with each other. Is this, sorry to ask this so soon in the aftermath of somebody's death, but if real politics is playing out, I have to ask the question, is this drama? Or is this really a pot boiler? Whereas Dilip says there are now 3 sons in the mix, the upper hand is with Sunetra Pawar, and Supriya Sule will have to eat humble pie.
So everything is partly true. Now, I won't comment on the personal aspects because I know both sides of the family very well, particularly Parth and Jay.
But is there real friction? At least tell us, is there real friction?
Yes, there is. But then again, that's not drama when you come together. So when you will always be together, and you can then have different opinions. I think that's also the nature of how Maharashtra as a society is, that you can disagree with each other, and yet you can agree to be together on happy and sad occasions. And that is a good thing about Maharashtra. It's inherently Maharashtra culture of how it is supposed to be. You don't allow those things to come in. And I think Varun and Tejas will agree with me on that part at least. So this then is family. So you'll be there for family occasions, happy or sad. What you skip is, prior to this, there were 2 weddings. There was Jay's wedding, and then there was the other wedding, and the entire family was together. Both these weddings were abroad, and the families were together. So that's okay. The second part to it, but there is friction. Now let's come to the second part to it. Is this about power and who's in trouble? Well, in trouble, legally speaking, would be the Ajit Pawar faction. But there aren't 3 Pawar boys, there are 2. Rohit Pawar is in the Sharad Pawar camp. So again, it's not 3, it's 2. And there is one more cousin who's now trying to come into the politics. He contested against Ajit Pawar in Baramati, and he lost. the elections. Now let's go to the next part. The different now both the Thackeray family and the Pawar family had a similar problem. After the patriarch Balasaheb Thackeray passed away, or here Sharad Pawarji is still alive, the choices between the biological child and the nephew. The difference in the Thackeray's versus the Pawar is, in case of the Thackeray's, both the children, the child and the nephew competing for the Thackeray legacy were not the most competent mass leaders. That's Uddhavji and Rajji. They're not mass leaders. In case of Sharad Pawar's, neither is Supriya Sule a mass leader. The only mass leader, genuinely speaking, and I don't like Ajit Pawar's politics, was Ajit Pawar. He had a connect with the ground. You can like him, you can dislike him. The fact of the matter is, Ajit Pawar is the kind of politics I like to do. He was very alphaist. He would get his things done. He would scream at the bureaucrats. He would make sure things are done. That's how Maharashtra politics is supposed to run. So he was that way, and that's how he did his politics, which is why you saw those numbers actually out there for that funeral. He was a very on your face person. You tell you yes, no, and it was very clear. So that is what it is. You also know that there is not just the ED cases. There are land cases that are there. Recently, there was a land case, which is, in most people's opinion, Varun had tweeted about it, an open and shut case. So that works for the BJP. So there's also the BJP aspect as to why they would like the NCP Ajit Pawar to be there, because that then gives them the numbers to go ahead confidently into the assembly. Will there now finally be a merger between the families?
Yeah.
Will somebody want to come here, not come there? I think time will tell on how that plays out. But this idea that Mr. Pawar is extremely secular, and secular means not going with BJP, I think that idea is over and done with. I mean, if Muslims could vote Uddhavji to an extent in Mumbai, I think the politics has changed. To stick on to those old definitions, I think those are 80s, 90s, and I think in a strange way, those definitions have been the reason why Mr. Pawar could not outmaneuver Senior Pawar, Ajit Pawar.
I was just going to say, if a Hindutva party like Shiv Sena in its original form could ally with the Congress that you support, then I don't know what the conventional secularism debate is jaded. Tejas, I saw your hand go up. Please go ahead, and then I'll come to Varun after that. Tejas.
No, exactly. I was going to point out on that, that Sharad Pawar is fine joining Shiv Sena, but the argument against the BJP and the NDA, it's turned around the argument. So it doesn't really work. But I don't know then why hasn't he, jumped the ship? Because everything, for him can work much better if he is with, the BJP. And I mean, I would believe that, it was about the secular credential. When it comes to the BJP, it matters more to him and not about maybe Supriya. So I don't know really what Supriya also has in mind, because at the end of the day, she is not being able to, as Tehseen pointed out, going to be able to run the party herself like her father did or Ajit Pawar did. That's something these two were very good at. But
so why do you think? Answer the question you've raised. Why hasn't Sharad Pawar so far joined the other side?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, his games of smokes and mirrors is fine, but this is one question which I've been unable to answer, unless Supriya Sule is more comfortable with the Congress and the India alliance, and therefore she's been there for such a long time. Jumping this thing would be embarrassing for her. I don't know, but these are politicians at the end of the day, especially with the NCP. There is no ideology per se. It's about power. It's about being in power. There is no clear-cut ideology, at which say the Congress really has or some other parties have. They don't have anything like that which bothers them. So I am quite flummoxed, and I think perhaps whenever the merger happens, it's going to be the NCP Sharad Pawar faction joining the NDA, if that ever happens.
So Varun, is it going to happen? Sorry, Tehseen, I'll come to you right after that. Varun, is it going to happen?
Barkha, let me answer your first question that you asked, Tejas. Why hasn't Sharad Pawar joined the NDA? You can enter a house only when the door is open and people are welcoming you. Sharad Pawar is not welcomed in NDA right now. And you have to understand immaterial how much he tries and how much he tries to put that narrative out over here in Maharashtra. And everyone knows that Devendra Fadnavis is not going to welcome Sharad Pawar at this juncture, and that is one of the reason why everything happened in a hurry, and that is another reason why a disgruntled Sharad Pawar had to come out in the morning and say that, oh, nobody consulted me before Sunetra Pawar. Why would you be consulted? You are from different party, and let me tell you,
Yeah.
and let me tell you a simple thing. Over here, I was very flummoxed by the way reporters were asking Sunil Tatkare, the president of NCP, that why will Sharad Pawar be coming for your legislative party meeting? Under what ground will Sharad Pawar be invited for the legislative party meeting of NCP? He heads another party. So the kind of narrative, and that is the biggest problem I see. The kind of narrative, and he is very successful in managing narratives. He can do it, and let me be very honest, at this point, and even before Ajit Pawar's death, there were no talks of merger. There were talks of contesting elections for the Jilla Parishad together. There's a latest interview of Ajit Pawar where he was asked this question whether both the parties are going to merge. He had categorically stated that this point is not on the agenda right now. The video that is being circulated is clear for the ZP elections that were supposed to be held on next week, which have been postponed. There was no talk from Ajit Pawar's camp and his
But
party
will
president.
will the Ajit Pawar camp be more vulnerable now that he's not there, Varun?
No. To be very honest, anybody when loses a head of a family becomes vulnerable for a point of time. But to be very honest, they have the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is guiding them. They have Praful Patel. They have former deputy chief ministers like Chhagan Bhujbal, and there are many seasoned leaders. As I was telling you earlier also, that NCP as a party is a party of regional satraps. There are people who want to be in power and they will do anyhow to keep this alliance a success so that they remain close to power. So I don't see this NCP collapsing. I don't see Ajit Pawar faction, or to be very honest, NCP in what form we see today under Sunetra Pawar, collapsing in anytime soon. So it is very clear.
Okay, let's start taking closing comments. Dilip, I think I saw your hand go up. Go ahead. Let's take your last comment. The consensus seemed to be Sharad Pawar, even after Ajit Pawar's death, remains vulnerable with few options and not necessarily a door being held open for entry, at least by Devendra Fadnavis. Your thoughts?
More vulnerable than he has been in the last 2 years. That's where Sharad Pawar is at the moment. Keeping in mind the kind of bench strength that the Ajit Pawar faction even today has, he has to step into Maharashtra's current state of politics very carefully. And whether he will find that worth sort of flailing his arms and entering, that is all he has to decide on. But I think as long as Devendra Fadnavis has the kind of equity that he has in Delhi, and given that his calculations are that any entry of a Pawar factor into Maharashtra at this point of time will only weaken his government, are clearly factors he will take into account. Can Sharad steamroller over those? The answer is 10 years ago, maybe he could have. But today, he just doesn't have the electoral numbers to make any of this happen. So, it's not just about intent, content, or even cash. It is about the fact that how many MLAs or how many MPs do you have, and who among them have the resources and the access that's needed to play this juggling game.
Yeah. So, Dilip, what would be your best guess? What would you be looking out for in the next few weeks?
I would be looking for Sunetra Pawar consolidating her current position and just making sure that she provides a calming hand on the tiller as the ship just hopefully continues to sail, because for them it is continuity in Maharashtra and power in the state that matters the most.
Okay, before I come to Varun and Tejas and Tehseen to respond to that, we also put a poll to our audience: who gains the most politically following the demise of Ajit Pawar? And 51% believe that it's actually Devendra Fadnavis who gets to consolidate power, Freudian slip there, who gets to consolidate power. Sharad Pawar 29%, Sunetra Pawar 17%, and only 3% say that it matters or has any impact on the opposition. So Varun, I think nobody knows. The short answer seems to be nobody knows what's going to happen, but you seem to believe that it's Sharad Pawar who continues to be out in the cold.
Absolutely. Look at what is happening on the ground over here. Sharad Pawar's pen, if he continues with that, and what happened with Jitendra Awad in Mumra in the recent municipal polls, I think that number should come down far more than what it was in the 2024 assembly election. Sharad Pawar is at a very weak ground for a very simple reason, because firstly, he's old, he can't go out, can't hold much rallies, and secondly, Supriya Sule, isn't much. As a mass leader that many people in Delhi believe it to be, including many BJP leaders who tweeted after Supriya Sule, after the death of Ajit Pawar, the way they saw her. Here on ground, Supriya Sule cannot hold a public rally and get only on her own. She can't get many people, even less than what Uddhav Thackeray would get if he doesn't have the whatever organization he has. So Sharad Pawar is at the losing end of this particular game, but Ajit Pawar faction will survive, and I don't think Devendra Fadnavis is going to gain anything. He is the only leader who has managed to handle things very well, and the way he came out and spoke that day, the way he was heartbroken that day, it was clearly visible on his face. The Mahayuti alliance, probably with Sunetra Pawar coming in, has managed to put a good picture of having first woman DCM, and Devendra Fadnavis already is being credited with many things. First woman chief secretary, first woman secretary for home affairs in Maharashtra, and multiple things. First woman DGP also. So now in his tenure, we have a first woman deputy chief minister, and he will guide her. He will help her. That is the only thing.
You believe that, Tejas? I mean, who guides anybody in politics? It's such a ruthless world.
The NCP, frankly speaking, is insurance for the government. It's not. I mean, their existence in the the NDA for the government to survive is not really essential. So I think, as long as the BJP gains out of it, the finance portfolio currently is back with the BJP, given the circumstances, and the budget is to be presented. It was with all these years with Ajit Pawar. So now it has gone back. I don't know if they will give back. That also will indicate the power equation between the NCP without Ajit Pawar and the BJP. But the next time we could meet actually is next week, when the Zilla Parishad elections take place on I think it's now 7th, because that's when both the factions are going to contest under the clock symbol, okay, under one flag, under one symbol and one party name. So that is going to be the first time they're going to contest together in that sense. Of course, this is an attempt. Yeah. They would see actually what really happens. I'm not sure if they will continue doing that, but it's just next week now, so I don't think they can change too much. So that will be the first test for a post Ajit Pawar era, and what sympathy wave do we see, or does how do Sharad Pawar's numbers really pull in the vote for each one of them. So that will be the next test, or interesting
absolutely
times. That's the closest election we have after the passing of Ajit Pawar.
Right. Tessie, let me give you the closing comment then. What would you be looking out for in the Zilla Parishad elections of the next few weeks?
Before that, I have to make one comment, and I agree with what Varun said. The door isn't open for Sharad Pawarji. It is, and Sharad Pawarji would love to jump this side. It's almost the same. Actually, it is exactly the same as if Uddhavji or Rajji's kids were to be told by somebody in Mumbai or Delhi that we'll make your kids ministers. They would immediately jump, forget all of this acrimony against the BJP. Mr. Pawar, if Supriya Sule would be made a cabinet minister today, will go as of yesterday to the BJP and sit. Let's be extremely clear about it. And I have to put in one point, because two of my friends on the media are in Maharashtra. It has left me stunned, spellbounded, and disappointed to how Maharashtra media builds narratives. They fawn over people who are not mass leaders, be it Uddhavji, Rajji. The kind of popularity they give their Nepo kids, it's stunning. It is stunning to see Maharashtra media that is known for once being the flag bearer of journalism in the country fall down to being PR reel makers it actually breaks your heart. I mean, to see what they did with Amit ji, Raj ji, with Amit and Aditya, left me speechless. But let me come to the issue out here that is important.
I think Tejas has one sentence, if I may. Tejas, you have a sentence.
Please.
Have both made this point, but Devendra Fadnavis has said it several times that there were, attempts to, and Sharad Pawar was on board many times. So, and why wouldn't the BJP want him at this point? I mean, that will be the icing on the cake for them. I mean, the person who has been opposing the BJP for so many years, now he is in their camp. I mean, he may not be of great utility to them at this point of time, politically speaking, or even the numbers, but it sends a huge message to the Congress. So, I mean, perhaps unless they feel that his nuisance factor in Maharashtra could be much more in bringing down the government or doing some mischief.
Possibly.
That's why they don't want him. But,
you can see Dilip and Varun nodding along there that the nuisance factor is indeed high. But Tessin, I'll let you complete that point. Yes.
I'll explain to you why the BJP won't want him. Because the minute he's in the NDA, Mr. Pawar is not going to speak directly to the Honorable Prime Minister or the Honorable Home Minister, which will then put the Maharashtra government's stature. He will try and put it down, and he will become the boss of Maharashtra. Remember when the MBA ran the government for 3 years, everybody thought Mr. Pawar is running it. No, how many people knew who the chief minister is? He overshadows. That's his personality. So it doesn't make sense for somebody like the Maharashtra government to have him. Fadnavis ji is a tall leader by himself. But let me put this point out. I think we will overread in the Zilla Parishad elections how they play out. There are several factors, including the now sympathy with Ajit Pawar ji. I think what is interesting to note is the BJP right now is totally in command. There is lack of opposition space. And what Ajit Pawar ji did differently from Sharad Pawar ji is when he crafted his organization, he didn't have only Maratha leaders. You must know Ajit Pawar had a lot of OBC leaders. Dhananjay Munde, Sunil Tatkare, the erstwhile Chhagan Bhujbal. So it becomes a very good combination for that part of the NCP to win elections in Maharashtra, get the required 40, 50, 60 seats to always be in government or be the reason why governments are formed. His combination is extremely different from Sharad Pawarji's combination. He relies on the Maratha OBC factor. That's why all the tall leaders, barring Praful Patel, are OBC leaders of Ajit Pawar faction. You must understand those politics in nuance to see where Ajit Pawar comes from. His combination's been different.
Okay, we will leave it there with me only saying that politics is complex everywhere in this country, but Maharashtra takes it to a different level. Politics is so fragmented over the last few years that I'm pretty much hat tip to all of you who can decode it and make sense of it for us. Thank you very much to Dilip, Varun, Tejas, and Tessin. Always a pleasure. And to our audience, thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend and see you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.